Welcome back to our book talk deep dive on the Unremembered Sequence. If you finished Book 1 and jumped straight to Book 2, you skipped the bridge that changes every motivation Delgado has for the rest of the series. At the end of the first novel, veteran handler Delgado officially leaves the Memory Integrity Commission and walks away from her team. When she reappears in Book 2, she delivers exactly one word of dialogue to Rian: go. To understand the weight behind that single command, we have to look at the short story Irina, which fills the narrative gap between her two appearances. After leaving her post, Delgado travels deep into a restricted dead zone, tracking a 30-year-old paper trail to an abandoned underground facility. Inside, she finds her mother, Irina. She hasn't been dead all these years. She's been locked inside an active stasis pod. Delgado has spent 22 years defending the Memory Integrity Commission, policing the same organization that has been keeping her mother in cold storage for 3 decades. She doesn't have the extraction tools or the access codes to open the pod. She has to leave her mother behind in the dark, armed with nothing but a promise to come back. This sequence transforms the hardened operative we met in Book 1. By the time she returns to her team in Book 2 and tells them to go, that word carries the crushing weight of a woman desperately trying to outrun her own history. For Post 2 of our series, let's talk about Caleb. Book 2 opens with his rescue from a concrete cell, but leaves out how he survived 6 years of decommissioning. The short story The Room fills that void. Subject 009 was thrown into solitary confinement for a single act of defiance, refusing an order to wipe a 12-year-old girl's memory. Surviving that box meant living entirely on nutrient paste, and at one point, having to set his own broken bone by hand in the silence of the facility. But the real battle was psychological. To anchor his sanity, he focused on the room's mechanics, counting the precise seconds between the trickle of the drainage pipe and the hum of the air vent. He has been counting for 6 years. That's 2,190 days of scratches on a concrete wall. The Ouroboros can overwrite a memory, but they can't stop a man from counting. For Caleb, sanity was a series of integers held against the silence. When the door finally opens in Book 2, it isn't just a plot beat. It's the first time in 6 years that the sound of a voice has been louder than the trickle of the drain. Finally, we look at the logistics guy. Victor Hess seems like a standard background character. In the main novels, he's the procurement officer who gets his throat cut in a hallway and hands over a restricted keycard to the protagonists. But the keycard story exposes how the memory economy physically changes the people who maintain it. This chart tracks the biological cost of Victor's desk job. The top wave shows his original resting heart rate, a steady 72 beats per minute. Over decades of proximity to Ouroboros tech, his heart rate gradually surrenders, locking into a network's artificial 62-beat rhythm. Victor looks at his paper trail, the lead-lined memory steel panels, the blue gel, the resonance amplifiers. He unwittingly authorized every material used to build Elias Vance's stasis prison. With a healing scar on his throat, he leaves a letter for his wife Clara and heads deep underground. Victor isn't fighting a generic villain. He's fighting the inventory logs he signed with his hand. He sacrifices his comfortable life to dismantle a machine he helped build from a desk, proving that these short stories are the essential heartbeat of the entire trilogy.